Hey guys, it is JStars360 here. First off, hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. I know I did. And I hope you enjoyed the parade. Hope you ate lots of turkey. Hope you had enjoyed the football. Hope Black Friday was awesome. And to those of you who are Jewish, I hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving. Better have enjoyed it because another one's not going to happen for another 7,800 years, and I have no clue how anyone knows that. But anyway, regardless, among the things I did this weekend, I finally got to see Thor: The Dark World. You know, the movie I've been saying I'm going to see, but yeah, I finally saw it this weekend. As you guys know, I wouldn't say I wasn't looking forward to it. I wasn't expecting much out of it. I was like, maybe it'll surprise me, but I really wasn't expecting much out of it. I was mainly just seeing it because it was part of the big Marvel Cinematic Universe. If I don't see this film, I'm going to be missing out on whatever's going to come next. And it was alright. Again, I don't think this is an amazing film by any means. Again, this is more... You know, if you like the Marvel films, you go see this film. If you don't like the Marvel films, then, you know, you can sit it up. But then you're going to be confused when when you go to see Avengers 2, which is the movie everyone cares about. So anyway, real quick story. Set a year after the Avengers, the Nine Realms are lining up, and the Dark Elves are awakened, and they're going to use this moment to acquire this great power called the Ether. They're going to use it to destroy all the worlds. And Thor sets out to stop them. He, with the help of Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman. Oh yeah, Chris Hemsworth plays Thor. And he also needs to recruit the help of his arch nemesis and brother Loki. And if I say any more than that, I'm going to be spoiling the movie. I'm going to try and keep spoilers to a minimum in this review. If I wind up spoiling something, I'll just put an annotation saying skip here to avoid spoilers, but I think I should be able to talk about the movie without going to spoilers, and there isn't anything that big in the movie to the point where I feel like I need to do a spoiler video. So, anyway, this film as a whole is I mean, it starts out kind of cool with, you know, this epic Lord of the Rings-ish battle, and then we get some really cool live-action fighting. The fight they showed in the show that's like from one of the first scenes in the movie, and I was relieved to know that was the first scene that they weren't going to ruin. They weren't showing the end in the trailer. But I feel like very quickly the movie loses momentum. I mean, you have this really lengthy exposition, which threw some people off, especially, both me and my brother when we saw it. Yeah, he was like, I don't think the Lord of the Rings movies have had that much exposition. But then we get to Asgard. And one problem a lot of people have had with the first movie, I didn't have this gripe, but people felt we didn't spend enough time in Asgard, and I guess that's why people like this movie more, is because we do spend so much time in Asgard in this movie as opposed to the first one. I feel like we spend way too much time in Asgard. Like, we spend an hour of this movie is spent in Asgard with Thor, you know, chilling, hanging out, then assessing the situation of the Dark Elves, figuring out what to do, then the minor spoiler, but the elves attack, and then Thor's debating about what to do. Point is, this is like an hour, it's boring, I mean, at least with the first movie, stuff was happening. We were going places. We have an awesome prologue. We see Thor as a kid. We see him as an adult. There's an attack. He goes into the ice realm. He comes back, uses his powers, he goes to Earth. Stuff happens within the first 20 minutes. We're going places. Here it's like we're stuck in Asgard for like an hour. He like goes to Earth for a bit, but then we go right back to Asgard, occasionally cutting to Earth where we have some annoying humor from... Well, we'll get to that later. The point is, it takes forever. It's like Brave, where like the first hour is like just exposition. I mean, at least with Iron Man 3, it's like 20 minutes, Tony's house gets attacked, and then we are on our way with the plot. Here it's like... And And part of me wanted to leave because it was so boring. But thankfully, then Loki comes into the story, and then the movie becomes enjoyable. Like, they so which is kind of my criticism. Loki's in the movie, and when Loki gets in the movie becomes really fun. It's engaging, it's exciting. Loki just breathes so much life into this movie. Like, I swear he gets more and more enjoyable in each movie. But it's annoying because you have to wait an hour for him, and then he's in the movie for he's not in the movie that much. Like, they should have used Loki more because he's really entertaining, really a fun character, and yet he's barely in the movie. And the brief total of 30 minutes when he's on screen. You heard me. 20-minute movie, and he's only in a quarter of the movie. The quarter of the movie when Loki was in the movie was really entertaining. The rest of it was just kind of eh. But yeah. But that was really annoying. But again, the worst is, again, once you get to Loki, the movie gets really entertaining. There's some surprising twists and turns, which thankfully the trailers don't spoil. And then the movie slows down again. There are two scenes that really disrupt the pacing of the movie. There's, minor spoiler, there are two really dramatic scenes. One right after the elves invade Asgard, and another when Thor is in the Dark World. These are really dramatic scenes, really well done scenes, but the problem is they occur halfway through the movie. One halfway, the other like an hour and a half into the movie. And the point is we aren't given... These are really dramatic scenes, but the problem is they're like part way through the movie, and the movie doesn't have time to dwell on these scenes or let them really sink in or show that they're affecting the characters because we gotta have the plot move forward. I mean, major death scenes should... Wait, I just spoiled. Spoilers, someone dies in the movie. I won't say who, though. But yeah, point is, major dramatic scenes should happen at the end of your movie. So that's the note we leave it on. If you have it midway, we still have an hour left. It's really disrupting to the pacing of your movie when you have a dramatic scene and then you have like another hour of the movie. I mean, Fellowship of the Ring had this problem where I think it's fair game to spoil Fellowship. I mean, most people have seen it. If not, just chime in the next 10 seconds. Gandalf dies, movie grinds to a halt. The next hour of the movie is really slow. Only exception is Up, where the entire movie is you feel the weight of Ellie's death and how it's affecting the characters. But for the most part, dramatic scenes save them for the end. So anyway, then we get to the climax movie, which is really enjoyable. It's fun, entertaining. There's this really cool mechanic they have in the final fight that makes it a lot of fun to watch. It was way more engaging than the one in Iron Man 3 and Man of Steel, where they just had him punching. It was fun, it was entertaining. It did not overstay its welcome like Man of Steel's climax. And it was entertaining. Alright. One thing you want to note about this film is that it is a little dark. They call it Thor Dark World for a reason. This movie is really dark. There are some really dramatic scenes, there's some really gruesome scenes. Iron Man 3 was a little gritty at times, but this just... It can get dark. I mean, it's not the darkest thing I've ever seen in the world. I mean, heck. Trust me, I've seen some really dark and disturbing movies, one of which came out this year. But... yeah, but for a Marvel superhero movie, I thought some of the stuff they were throwing in there was pretty dark. It was like, sheesh. Hopefully, I want to say hopefully Winter Soldier's more lighthearted, but the Phase 2 movies seem to be up in the grid. Hopefully Avengers 2 is lighthearted. Anyway, characters, mostly likable for the most part. Thor, still likable. Hemsworth does a good job with him. He's not as interesting in this film, though, because first film he had a nice arc. Here he just has a dilemma between whether or not to be in Asgard or be with Natalie Portman. It's not that interesting. Anthony Hopkins still does a good job as Odin, and then everyone. Loki is still a lot of fun. Everyone else is alright. Now that Jane Foster's alright. And the romance between her and Thor was alright. I personally, Doug Walker pointed this out in his sibling rivalry review, and I agree. There should have been more focus on the relationship between Thor and Loki. That was barely developed. It was far more interesting than the Natalie Portman and the Thor and Jane relationship, which takes up a good chunk of the movie, and it's not really that interesting. Then there's like a bunch of characters in this film that aren't really that interesting. One is Kat Dennings' character. People complained she was annoying in the first four. She is even more annoying in this one. Like, at least in the first one, she was kind of being serious part of the time. Here, it's like every time she's on screen, they're like trying to use her as comic relief, and it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's like, shut up. Like, yeah, I swear she had more funny lines in this movie than the last one. Next one, also, Kat Dennings' character is an intern. He's not interesting at all, really weak character. And then the final weak character is the villain. He's not that interesting. He's not that well developed. He's barely giving any screen time. Heck, when I was writing my review of this film, I almost forgot about him. No, the intern I almost forgot about, but the villain too. Again, villain's not a bad character. There's just not much to him. He's probably the least memorable part of the movie. So yeah. Okay. Presentation-wise, I thought the presentation was better. I mean, I think Asgard looked more grand in the first movie, but it still looks nice here. Although, again, Kenneth Branagh directed the first one, so he's always big and grand. But this movie was better because it was more cinematic. Also, there was no Dutch angle. First film, one thing that was really distracting the second time, I didn't notice this much the first time, but the second time I watched it, there was a lot of Dutch angle. And if you don't know what Dutch angle is, it's where you take the camera and you tilt it like this. And you have shots like this. It's really, really distracting when you constantly have the camera tilting like this. See? Isn't this annoying? Huh? But yeah, there was tons of shots like that on 4. It was really annoying and distracting. You could make a drinking game out of it. Thankfully, none of that in here. And the action scenes are far better and more engaging, especially the climax. First one didn't have much action. It was alright. Here it's pretty good. Again, Asgard looks cool. It's this interesting hybrid of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. In fact, there's this one chase scene in Asgard that I swear Black Nerd put it best. Am I walking into an early screening of Star Wars Episode 7? Now, this film was directed by the guy who did Game of Thrones. I haven't seen his work, but I can only imagine it was similar to this. But while I feel like the presentation was better, the film looked better, better shots and stuff, I feel like it lacked, the characters or story didn't have any heart. And again, I think Kenneth Branagh got that. But again, I feel like if you took the characters and story of Kenneth Branagh's story and combined it with the presentation of Alan Taylor, you would have a pretty enjoyable movie. Now, before I go, Stanley cameo's good. There's another character who makes an appearance, who I won't spoil, but it's a really funny cameo. There's 2 end credit scenes. There's the first one, which is alluding to an upcoming film, and features a character which I'm looking up online. Kind of a little concerned about that film. I feel like it's going to be the Phase 2 films are playing a lot to the comic book fans. This one especially feels, the one that's being teased here especially, I feel like is playing to the comic fans a lot, which probably is going to turn people off, but we'll talk about that film when the time comes. There's another scene in the end credits, which is a gag. So if all you care about is the main story, you're going to be happy with the mid-credit scene. It actually alludes to something, unlike Iron Man 3, which was it was a gag, but I think we're all hoping for a tease. So, Thor 2 is a tease. And there's also a gag in there if you care for that. Again, standalone film. Again, this film worked as a standalone film, but it's not an amazing film. At the end, this is just killing time until the Avengers, but while at the same time alluding to a much bigger story that's going to come. So, this was a decent flick. Again, I don't hate it. Again, there was some good action. Loki was great. There was some nice presentation, but the pacing was off. I feel like they focused way too much on stuff no one cared about and less on stuff that was interesting, like Loki and his relationship with Thor. I saw it once. I'm glad I saw it, but probably not going to see it again. I may or may not forget about it in like a couple months, like Iron Man 2. Again, if you like the Marvel movies, go check this one out. You probably have already. And if you're not a fan of the Marvel movies, then this one's not going to do anything to change your mind. This isn't like Iron Man or the Avengers where you need to go see it. You're going to have a lot of fun, but again, either you like the Marvel movies and you'll enjoy this film, or you don't like them, and in that case, sit this one out. Again, I think it's one of the weaker films in the Marvel Universe, but not a bad one. I've seen far worse superhero movies. So again, check it out if you want, but again, if you're looking for an amazing Marvel film, this isn't it. This is just a decent flick that'll provide some entertainment. And those are my thoughts on Thor: The Dark World. All my written review and a link in the description below. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. vlogs, I'll catch up with them when I feel like I'm busy with life, plus no one cares about them. I don't care about them that much, but they'll come when they'll come. So, those are my thoughts on Thor: The Dark World. Sorry for the delay, but hope it was worth it. I'll see you guys in the next video.